So I want to confess to everyone this morning that I love my wife, Sue, but I also love Susie. Well, I should say I used to love Susie because she's not with me anymore. She has left me, gone to another lover. My wife, Sue, sold Susie at whopping $250 last week to a young man. Yes, I'm talking about my vintage 1989 750cc motorcycle, Suzuki Intruder. I used to call her Susie. Suzuki, Susie. So I used to ride Susie around the Okanagan Valley in spring and summer and autumn seasons. It was the most exciting and cool thing anyone or any guy can do, especially on a warm and sunny spring afternoon like today. Now, I would wear a special outfit when I'm cruising around. Worn out leather jacket, blue jeans with the big black boots and gloves on, and a special skull-shaped helmet with a pair of dirty, hairy sunglasses on. That was cool. Me and my Susie would cruise around the town, and later I would ride her into the parking lot in front of my favorite Starbucks, and in full view of everyone in the store, I would just rip her engine once more before I park her. And I would slowly stroll into the store with my Clint Eastwood grin on my face and would approach the counter and say, "Hey, go ahead, make my day." Now, those were good old days, my Susie and me, but now Susie is gone. Sold at dirt low price. Well, let me explain. I haven't been riding Susie for several years since I came to Vancouver and 2 years prior. I had to fix some parts on her. So I did, and I was going to take her for a ride, but I couldn't find the keys. So I asked my wife, Sue, where is key to my Susie? And Sue said she didn't know. But she also said that she threw away a set of keys lying around with other stuff last week, the week before, and she thought they were just a set of keys for the desk cabinet we sold, so she didn't think much about it and threw them out. And I said, "Where did you throw them out?" She said, "In the garbage bin." And I said, "There's nothing in the garbage bin." And she said, "Well, the garbage truck came this morning and emptied out the garbage." So right there and then, I almost fainted. Since then, my Susie has been sitting in the backyard collecting dust. And last week, finally, my wife dispatched her from my life for good, permanently sold to a young man, only $250, dirt cheap. So Susie, a lover of my life, is gone from my life forever. Just want to say that I used to have two lovers, Susie and Sue, but now I'm left with Sue only. And that's just okay. I'm okay. I'm okay, folks. So who do you love? Who is or what is the object of your love? Who or what do you love the most? Now, for today's text from John chapter 15, Jesus said to his friends and disciples, he says, "I command you to love one another as I have loved you." How much? Jesus says, "No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Now, you see, the text from John 15 is a part of long speech extending from John 13 to 17 that Jesus gave to his disciples on the night he was betrayed and crucified, because he was crucified the next day. In other words, he spoke these words on his last night on the earth. Jesus says, "Love one another as I have loved you." It's all about love, folks. And there is an order of who you love more than the others. Now, when the risen Jesus Christ met his disciples in Galilee, he asked Peter directly and more personally. He says, "Do you love me, Peter? Do you love me?" He asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me, Peter?" 3 times. And Peter was somewhat disturbed that Jesus asked him this 3 times, do you love me? And he said, yes, I do love you, Jesus. I do love you. And I believe the question that Jesus posed to Peter is the same question Jesus poses all of us who are his disciples and followers. Do you love me? Do you love me? So the answer to the question, who do we love, is obvious. We love Jesus. Jesus is the object of our love. Why do we love him? Well, because he loved us first, because he offered his life for us. Now, the response to how do we love Jesus is found in today's text, in Jesus' command. Love one another as I have loved you. In other words, our love for one another is a way of loving Jesus. We love Jesus by loving our friends. When we say we love Jesus, we also need to say, and this is how I love Jesus, loving one another. It's like, since today is Mother's Day, when we say we love our parents, our moms, we also need to say, this is how I love my parents and my mom, with action, with tangible things, because the words mean nothing without actions. So as a token of our love, we send flowers to our moms, or blender, or gift card, or money, or something tangible, not just, I love you, Mom. So when we say we love Jesus, what does it mean? How do you love someone whom you can touch, or smell, or see? We must make it tangible, actionable. Remember, folks, God says God loved the world so much. So what? Well, God sent one and only Son. The Word of God made flesh and lived among us. And he offered his life for us. Words and action. Words and actions. So Jesus said, this is how I know you truly love me. If you love one another. The reason Jesus told Peter, if you truly love me, feed my sheep. In other words, take care of them. Love them. Once again, it's all about love, and that love must be tangible. Now, our golden commandment that Jesus spoke and told his disciples is the command to love, broadly, to love God and love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That's a broad and overarching command that applies to all of us, to the core of what we do and who we are. But in today's text, especially in John chapter 15, and also on prior chapters in John chapter 13, the command to love one another is more personal in tone and directed toward the ones within the community of faith. Jesus is about to leave his disciples, not going to be there with them anymore in person. Of course, Jesus said he will send an advocate, a spirit, his presence in the spirit. He will be with us in the spirit, but not in person. And we can almost hear the tone of concerns in Jesus' words to his beloved disciples as he was about to leave. He says, I will be away for a while, but I will be back soon, okay? He's trying to assure his disciples. It's like concerns a loving mother has when she's about to leave her children for a while. And she's concerned, so she tells her children, I'll be away for a while, but I'll be back soon, okay? You guys need to take care of each other. Don't fight, lock the door, be nice to your sister, and always stick together. Okay, I won't be long. I'll come back soon. She is concerned and wants to assure her children. Now, most of you know that I come from a large extended family. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters, so altogether 7 siblings, 7 children, and I am the second last of 7. A big family. My mom told me that she gave birth to 3 more children between the second and the third, but then they all died before they reached first year's birthday. Well, life was hard back then, and the public health system was almost non-existent. So many babies didn't make their first birthday. And she said, If they were to survive back then, and you and your younger brother wouldn't be here at all. So I said, thanks, Mom. I almost didn't make it. Actually, I should thank my long dead siblings. Now, as we were growing up, my mom had one strict rule for all of us, the children. Stick together, no matter what. You got to stick together. You see, my mom was the strong one of the family. She single-handedly raised us. She was a breadwinner, she was house chef, she was teacher, and faithful Christian. She was a super mom. She had to, because my dad got into a car accident, bedridden for almost 3 years, and was never the same after that. Physically and mentally, he was compromised for the rest of his life. So my mom had to take care of the family of 7. Too many hungry young children. It was hard. Within 3 years of Dad's car accident, we lost everything. Before Dad had an accident, we were well-to-do. My dad ran a successful business in town. Everyone benefited from him, his relative and his friends. But after the accident, they all left. Mom went around to collect the money people owed to Dad's business while they were nowhere to be seen or would turn their backs on her. She went to her relatives to help. Well, that didn't work out so well. So all by herself against the harshness of life. From there onward, she learned to be self-reliant and never to ask for anything from anyone. She was very proud and somewhat bitter as well. And she would say to her children, you must stick together. No one will help you, no matter what. This world is a harsh place, so you need to care for each other. Stick together. In other words, love one another. So we have been a very close family, close to each other, brothers and sisters. And over the years, we would stick together no matter what. If there were any problems or issues in the family, we would work them out, come back together as brothers and sisters. This family value of sticking together has helped us greatly, especially during the initial period of our immigrant life. We landed in a foreign country. We knew no one, and culture, the language, people, and the world were vastly different than our home country. So we became closer than ever to one another for our own survival. Stuck together, care for each other. And I would say that this is the case in most recent immigrant families. They would stick together. Many immigrant families live together, more than 2 families of brothers and sisters under one roof. That's been common. That is common nowadays. And I almost hear my mom's concerned voice in Jesus when he said to his beloved disciples, love one another as I have loved you. Jesus is about to leave and he is concerned. You guys need to take care of each other. The enemies will come to you. You need to stick together. Love one another. Maybe the disciples were thinking, what is going on with him today? All of a sudden, so worried about us. Is he about to die or something? Why all these worries? Why this dramatic speech and keep repeating that we should love one another? I thought we were like a bunch of loving sort of group, caring for one another already. Is something going to happen to us? Is he going somewhere? Jesus knew what kind of hardship the disciples were going to go through. And he's worried. The hardship would be difficult to endure and would demand everything from each one of them. Even with the help of his Spirit, they would go through much suffering. So he says, you really need to stick together, my children. Take care of each other. Love one another as I have loved you. Loving Jesus means loving one another. And especially in times like this, Jesus' love command is more relevant and urgent. We need to love one another, to encourage, to care, to support, to stick together no matter what. And when I say stick together, I don't mean creating some sort of protective shell around us and from others around us against the world, that sort of creating a survival cocoon, that sort of thing. No, not at all. It's more of how we need to treat one another in the community of faith, how we should relate as a love community. We stick together by continuing to extend our forgiveness to those in a community of faith as we do the work of reconciliation. And as we love one another, we come together as one in lifting the justice and pursuing the vision that God has given us for this community of faith. We love one another as we love God and our neighbors as ourselves. Jesus said, love one another. Well, that's how we love him.